So I am going to turn this over to Natalie. Natalie Alcorta is our wonderful Caregiver Resources Director here at Age of Central Texas. And she is just a wealth of information. Whenever you contact our Caregiver Resource Center, it's Natalie who you will be contacting and who will help you with anything that you need during your caregiver journey. And we ask and remind you that we're here to serve you. And so never feel like you are bothering us by asking questions. That's why we're here. Never feel like you are less of a caregiver because you need to reach out and find resources. That's why they're here. That's why we exist. So Natalie's going to talk about our Caregiver Playbook. This is something we created specifically for this conference to help give you additional resources and guidance in your caregiving journey. So Natalie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone joining us today. It has been a long day, and I hope that you have learned lots of different information that will both support you and also just really practical tools that have been shared by our experts. So I am going to be mindful of our time, and it will be a hard stop at 2. So if you have any questions that you do end up putting in the chat box and we don't get to, you will be contacted individually. So I am going to take this time to talk to you all a little bit about AGE and our wonderful programs. I find that sometimes people are familiar with one of our programs and maybe not with all of them. So let's see if I can get my PowerPoint to go. Wonderful. So as Rob mentioned, I am the director of the Resource and Information Center. This is a navigation center, and we can provide referrals. So if you are new to caregiving or entrenched in it, you can always give us a call if you are maybe finding yourself in a moment of you need some specific support. What we can do is gather that information and provide it to you. And if there is a referral involved, we can also provide that service. We also help put on these conferences and educational opportunities throughout the year. And these are free to you. And so is the one-on-one assistance and guidance. So one of our wonderful programs is the Health Equipment Lending Program. And this program is one of our busiest in terms of the clients that we serve day to day. This is where any individual in our community of any age can come and access durable medical equipment. So that could be a wheelchair, a rollator walker, and that's the one with the 4 wheels and a seat. A standard walker or shower devices, like a shower chair or a transfer bench. You can give us a call, and we are currently working by appointments only, but you can just give us a call. Let us know what you're in need of. If we have it, we will set it aside, schedule a time for you to come pick it up. And that's it. It's pretty easy. We also provide free monthly incontinence products. So a typical package of incontinence products looks like you get 2 packages of adult style pull-up underwear, bladder pads, wipes, gloves if we have them available, bed pads. So we can provide this service once a month to anyone in the community in need of it. Again, this is all free to you. And I'll remind everyone, if you give us a call, we are operating on an appointment only basis to keep everyone safe during COVID times. And again, it's a pretty simple process. You just give us a call. If we have it, we gather quick information and then schedule a time for you to pick up. So we talked a little bit about Caregiver U at the beginning of the conference. Mary, the program associate, was our first presenter. And Caregiver U, again, is another free program that AGE offers to the community. This is specifically to family caregivers and older adults. We have our Powerful Tools for Caregivers class and our Savvy Caregiver class. This is for, again, the family caregiver. Powerful Tools is for any non-disease specific caregiver. Savvy Caregiver is specifically for the dementia caregiver. These are 6-week classes. Again, a lot of them are being held online right now just to keep everyone safe. And all of the classes can be found on our website. The third class that we offer in our Caregiver U program is called A Matter of Balance. And honestly, I think that this class is just good for anyone at any age, because this class is going to help you identify areas of your home that could potentially lead to a fall. And they also partner with a physical therapist that can come in and provide, exercises that can help strengthen muscles. And if you fall, what do we do? Is it safe enough for you to get up? How do you get up? So we have these 3 courses. And again, these are free to the family caregiver and the older adult. We also have another program that is incredible, Memory Connections Online. This is for the individual who is living or diagnosed with early memory loss. This specific program does have a membership fee, but this gives the individual living with the early memory loss access to live activities that are online. These activities are led by our wonderful program director of Memory Connections and our program associate. If an individual is interested in this program, there is an intake process, because it is very important for the program director to make sure that the classes that the individual is appropriately fit. We want all of our participants to feel successful in these classes and enjoy the classes. Again, it is a wonderful opportunity to socialize, participate in, brain boosting activities. And then there is also a support group component to this for the individual living with the diagnosis. So not only do they get the socialization through fun activities and the brain exercises, they also are able to receive the support from other individuals who are in a similar situation. There is also, for the caregiver part of this program, a caregiver support group that meets every Friday. That group is also just open to any caregivers. So your person does not have to necessarily be a participant in the Memory Connections program. So there is that side of it to also support you as a caregiver. So one of our final programs that we have is our Age of Central Texas Thrive Social and Wellness Center. And throughout this conference, I have looked at the chats in the comments, and several people have talked about how to socialize their person, and also get a break for you. And our Thrive Social and Wellness Center is a wonderful option. It is a Monday through Friday day program. We operate 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And our members receive a light breakfast, a lunch, an afternoon snack, transportation to our program if it's appropriate and safe for them to ride our transportation. We also have a ton of social activities, and through crafts and light physical activities, This is for the individual who is living with maybe some physical or cognitive challenges. It's a safe place to go during the day. And we are also, we are licensed by the state of Texas, and we have a nurse on staff to assist with medication management. So these are just like, oh, this is a wonderful program for both your person and for you. We have people who attend 1 or 2 days because that's what works for them. And then we have people who attend all 5 days because that's what their person wants, or maybe that's what the care partner needs. So this is another opportunity to socialize your person and also give yourself a break. This particular program is $70 per day private pay. But one of the beauties of this is that we do accept Medicaid recipients, VA benefits, and long-term care insurance, if that is what is covered by your long-term care insurance. So let's talk about the Caregiver Playbook. Again, like Rob said, this was created to provide everyone, all of you caregivers, with a great place to start. This particular playbook talks a lot about the evolution of our role and how it changes. So, for example, our caregiving evolves as disease progresses. So as a disease progresses over time, changes ripple through the caregiving system. Your person's needs and goals change, leading changes in your role, which in turn trigger changes with your own needs and goals. So this guide is intended to help you navigate these changes and provide you with a starting point in your current stage of caregiving. So again, each process of change is not clear-cut. However, transition from one stage of caregiving to another is often prompted by a tipping point. So this is an example of this: disease status, care receiver's needs and goals, your caregiving role, the caregiver's needs and goals, disease status. This changes over time, and you have to reevaluate all of these areas. So in this guide, we highlight 6 stages of caregivers, or still, yes, so 6 stages of the caregiving journey. We highlight the types of caregiving tasks that fall within these stages. We also set you up with resources that are a really great place to start. And then at the end of it, we have a specific area that we address dementia caregivers, because that is a very different type of caregiving. So again, we highlight 6 stages of the caregiving journey, the types of caregiving tasks within specific domains, and then resources on where to start. So for example, I show you here the different stages. And again, keep in mind that our situations are not clear-cut. So you might identify with 2 stages, or you might be preparing. You might be the expectant caregiver, and you are learning as much as you can to prepare as best as you can for the other stages. So we have the expectant, and that's I will be a caregiver in the near future. You have the freshman caregiver. You're at the beginning stages of helping a family member or a friend. You have the entrenched caregiver, where you're helping a family member. You're doing the tasks. You're already in it. The pragmatic caregiver. I'm still helping a family member or a friend, but the individual might be living in a long-term care community. And oftentimes I hear people say, well, I'm not a caregiver anymore. My person's living in assisted living. Nope, you are still a caregiver. It looks different, but you are still a caregiver. And that also can fall into the transitioning caregiver. Your person is in a long-term care community. And I'm sorry, the pragmatic caregiver is you're now reaching out for help. And that could be through looking into assisted living. The transitioning caregiver is when your person is living within a long-term care community. And then you have life after caregiving, which is very much part of the journey. Your caregiving role has officially ended, but you still need the support to process that end. What do you do now? You may have been a caregiver for many years and have identified this as your purpose, or your entire life has changed because you maybe have had to leave a job and your sole responsibility was to care for your person. What do you do now? Finding that support is extremely important. And again, all of the stages of these caregiver stages have, really wonderful tasks that to look out for, resources on where to start when you're in this specific stage of caregiving. And then, as I mentioned a little while ago, we have the very non-disease specific stages of caregiving at the beginning of the guide. And at the end of the guide, we have those same titles and stages, but we've included specific dementia related resources and support that fall into these different stages that I hope you find helpful. There are also, a part of this dementia section is different types of dementia and giving you some education on the differences. So looking at the time, I want to make sure that we get through everything. This playbook has already been uploaded to our Age of Central Texas website. And you will all receive a copy of this. So please, it has a lot of information. Take your time going through it. If you have any questions about any of it, reach out to us. If you want a hard copy of it, I would be happy to get that for you. And so that is an option. If some of you prefer to have, a paper copy of this, I can always make that possible for you. Again, it's a long guide. I'll give you a quick little preview of what it actually looks like in a second. And then please let me know if you have any questions or want a paper copy of it. So along with the caregiver guide or the caregiver playbook that we have created that identifies the different stages of caregiving and wonderful, areas and resources to start with, I also like to share this other guide with everyone. It's Caregiving in Central Texas, and it's a community resource guide put together by a bunch of Central Texas agencies. We all come together and we create this wonderful guide, which I will show you in a little bit. This has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to any and all resources in our Central Texas area related to caregiving. It's also just a really helpful guide for older adults to have. Even if they're not specifically a caregiver, it just has a lot of information. We recently received more hard copies of this. So if you would like a hard copy, you can contact me and we can schedule a time for you to come by our building to pick it up. Our building is still closed to the public, so we would have to arrange a time for you to come. But we have these caregiver guides on hand. I also would like to just highlight additional Central Texas resources. Again, you will receive this PowerPoint and all of the wonderful resources that we have discussed today. I would like to highlight the Area Agency on Aging of the Capital Area and the Aging and Disability Resource Center. The Aging and Disability Resource Center has a wonderful lifespan respite grant. This particular grant can assist with the cost of in-home care. It can help with the cost of even our program, the Thrive Social and Wellness Center, community-based programs. So I am going to include that specific financial assistance information in the follow-up email as well. I think that's super important to have. Again, you see we have several other options listed, or other agencies listed here, that just provide a wealth of information, both for older adults, individuals living with a disability. We have mental health resources on here, and then disease-specific agencies. All right. I also would like to just mention support groups. Sometimes joining a support group can be hard. And Age of Central Texas has several to choose from. We invite you to join. You are never pressured to share. You can come and just listen. Sometimes that's enough to just know that you're not alone. A lot of times what I see in the support groups is a lot of resource sharing or practical, sharing of practical tools. I can't get my person to do this thing. And another caregiver will say, oh, well, you know what? We know what worked for me, and they'll share that tool. It's also just a really nice, supportive place to be when it's hard to go and share the day-to-day struggles you encounter as a caregiver. If you're like me, you have some close friends, but not necessarily, it's not easy to call them up and share, frustrations related to caregiving, especially if they're not a caregiver. It's really hard for other people to really understand. So I invite you to check out one of our support groups. There are also many other really wonderful support groups within our area. You will also receive that list. Counseling. There are specific individuals in our community that specialize in counseling services for caregivers. Aging, the dementia caregiver. Age of Central Texas has a list of these individuals, and we would be happy to share with you. Again, geriatric care managers are really wonderful when you do need assistance with establishing services, maybe a mediator to help, guide a family and help plan for long-term care. What does that look like? Senior living advisors. So we've had the privilege of having a geriatric care manager and a senior living advisor join us today for the conference. And I highly recommend, if you are looking for independent living for an older adult, or assisted living, or a memory care community, reach out to a senior living advisor. And again, we have a list that we can share with you. I encourage you to look out and Google, disease-specific organizations. That can be another way to tap into a support group or learn more about your person's disease diagnosis. Subscribe to emails, and you could do that with Age, where you are notified of upcoming events and conferences. There's I believe it's caregiving.com, that is a really great resource too, and I signed up for that one, and I get think it's daily or maybe weekly articles that some of them are really helpful. Some of them are maybe helpful for someone else. But it's really nice to just see those emails come through with information. Okay, so along with the Caregiving in Central Texas guide, I always like to share the Greater Austin Transportation Services and Senior Ride Guide. Transportation can be challenging in our area, but there is this guide to help puts everything together for our specific region. So I encourage you to look at that if you are in need of transportation for yourself or for your person. Again, it has Capital Metro information, how to access and start Metro rides if that's what you're looking for. It also has a list of local nonprofits and free transportation services. And let's see. So I will share all of my contact information with everyone, but I want to take the opportunity to just quickly show you the guides that I'm talking about. So Robin, you can tell me if I mess this up somehow, but I'm going to attempt to share another screen. Can you see this?
Yeah, that's your Caregiver Playbook screen.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So this is the Caregiver Playbook, just to give you a brief look at it. Again, we have, I will stop here. We have the different domains / tasks of caregiving and what is included in those different domains. So it gives you a list of that. And then I'll give you a quick little glimpse of the expectant caregiver. We have caregiving tasks highlighted that typically fall within this particular stage. And then wonderful places, for, where to start. We have, Age of Central Texas here, the Caregiving in Central Texas Guide, Family Caregiver Alliance, which is another great resource. And then ARP, the Prepare to Care Guide. So you'll see these where to start all throughout the Caregiver Playbook. And then Rob, can you see my Caregiving in Central Texas?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is the Caregiving in Central Texas Guide. This again has a wealth of knowledge, and if you can just see here, here are some of the contents. You will be able to find all of these resources within this particular guide. So again, if you would like a hard copy of this, please reach out to us. We ask that you pick it up from our building, or you give us a little bit of time and we can put it in the mail for you.
And also this, the PDF version of this, both in English and Spanish, are on the Age of Central Texas website. So if you go to our website, which is ageofcentraltx.org, I'll type this into the chat, and click on Caregiver Resources. And we have a wealth of resources there, including the PDFs of both this guide and the transportation guide and the caregiver guide, both.
And we also have hard copies of the Spanish version of this particular Caregiving in Central Texas guide. And then we also, I wanted to show you real quick the transportation services guide here. Again, this shows you driver's license renewal and state identification cards, disability parking permits. Sometimes that can be a confusing process. Who do I call for that? I actually recently used this resource to get my mom a parking permit. I am her caregiver. So this is just a really helpful resource. Again, it has general transportation information for rural transportation, wheelchair accessible services, and so on. And I also have this in Spanish as well. I have hard copies of this. So those are the pieces of resources that I wanted to share with everyone. Again, if you have any questions, I know we're coming up on 2 and you have all been so patient. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
And we do have one question from one of our caregivers wanting to know about the Thrive Social and Wellness Centers, wants to know how they could find out if VA would pay for their loved one to come to the Thrive Centers.
So I encourage you to connect with one of our program directors, and we have 2 locations. We have one in Round Rock, and then we have one in Central Austin. So if you're familiar with the Age of Central Texas building, it is located in our Central Austin building. So if you are interested in the Thrive Center, you can reach out to me or Rob. We can, let us know which location you're interested in. We will connect you to the program director. We also have VA contacts that we can reach out to gather more information and hopefully help provide you with some support on accessing the program.